Hey guys, Happy New Year! Welcome back to my You Do You Babe YouTube channel. I hope everybody had a wonderful holiday. Mine was very nice. I don't know about you guys, but I picked a different scent for this year. I used to wear Estee Lauder, I forgot what it was called, but it was a very rosy scent. And now this year I decided on Gucci Guilty, and I absolutely love it. So I have a new scent for the year. I don't know if you ladies do that, but it's something to look into. I like change. And then I decided this year I would choose a word for the year. And my word for this year is thrive. Okay, I'm gonna thrive on everything, every aspect in my life. So I'm excited. I have a lot in store for this year. I have a lot of projects in the works, and I can't wait to see how it all pans out, okay? So anyway, I hope everybody had a wonderful holiday season and they rang in the new year with all their friends and love and all the wonderful things around them, okay? So I didn't do a lot of these podcasts last year. I had a lot going on, and, you know, I had a lot of conflicts, internal conflicts, with myself. And I didn't, really want to just talk about things, I do want to share my experiences with people. I do want to empower people to, do what they feel is best for themselves, women in particular. But men too, it's tough, all these changes. I was, in a relationship for a very long time, and here I am single and on my own. And there was a lot of fears that I had to face. And as much as I probably should have done the episodes as I was going through the fears, to help everybody here, I decided to just keep things to myself and do things on my own and slowly, talk about what's going on in my world. So I'm excited to share things with you guys and how I'm working through it. And like I've said in the past, how I work through it isn't probably it works for me, doesn't mean it's necessarily going to work for you. I just hope that whatever I do and whatever I say encourages you to work on yourself and do what's best for you. However you need to have it done, get it done, okay? So there's been one topic on my mind probably since, all this started a couple of years ago, and that topic is friendship. And since going through everything in my life these past 2 years, I've been reflecting back on my friendships, my past friendships, my current friendships, and why things happen. I'm a big why person. And I think I've mentioned that in the past. Like, I'm like a 3-year-old. Well, why? But, I find it fascinating as to why certain things happen. And I don't have the answers for all the reasons as to why. But I do know my feelings and emotions. Now, I've been working on myself, trying to figure out who am I? What's my purpose? Why do I feel certain things that I feel? Why do I act out the way I act out? And, there's only so much therapy one can do, right, with a therapist and talk about it. When I talk out loud, and I think that's why I enjoy doing these messages to you guys, because when I talk out loud, I hear it differently than when I'm thinking about it. So that might be something that you might want to get involved in. But anyway, I learned a few things. So first of all, when you go from being in a relationship for however many years, long time, and becoming a mom, and then being involved in your children's lives and all that good stuff, you really don't have time. Well, see, the thing is, you should make time, but what happened with me was I put my kids first, everything that they were doing first. So I didn't make time for myself, and I didn't care to. I was happy, doing what I needed to do for my children and my family. So that's one mistake. Not that it's a mistake in a bad way, but you really need to find time for yourself and figure out who you are. So these past couple of years, I've been figuring out who I am. And, in 2024, I moved to a space that I basically live by myself because my daughter's in college and my son's also in college, and they decided to stay. where their college is. And my daughter comes back every now and then. And of course I have room for her. But anyway, I digress. But I'm by myself a lot, right? So I needed to come up with like hobbies, okay? I do enjoy, so where I live is more like a city feel, and I moved from a house into like a condo apartment building. So I have, like I walk into a building, kind of reminds me of like a dorm, but I walk into a building and I go to my apartment and I walk in and I have, a really nice 2-bedroom, 2-bath, living room, dining room, kitchen. I have my own washer and dryer. That was super important. And the parking was important. But anyway, and outside, because I have my dog with me, outside I have a nice little patio, and I can overlook the water and see the city. And I really love it, okay? The water, I realize, is very healing for me, very grounding for me. And I enjoy walking along it and, clearing out my head. And because I got a busy head, I'm super creative. What I've learned about myself is that I come up with lots of scenarios, and I'm very, very creative. So it's good, but walking along the water pretty much empties my head. I'm not a big meditator. I can't do it. But if you're looking for something, I don't know, try walking along the water, along the beach, somewhere. That might be for you. I don't know. Some people like to walk in the mountains and do hikes. I'm not about hiking, okay? I'm just like, let's walk flat surface. I don't want to climb. But I do enjoy walking, and it really clears my head. And I love people watching. So things like that. So off my patio, I could see the walk that I walk every day and people walking, and I watch them, and I love to see how people interact with each other. So I learned that I do enjoy sitting and watching people. I also learned that I love to garden, and I had a whole bunch of patio like pots that were given to me, and I gardened last year as much as I could because I moved in July, so a lot of the flowers like impatiens and all that stuff weren't available to me to fill in all my planters. But either way, I found some things, and I enjoyed gardening. All right. Then I do like to read. I read a lot of self-help still, but and I read some stories, but I tried to do a little book club with one of my friends, and I couldn't get into it. So I'm more into the self-help. But one thing that what I'm getting at is I did learn that I love astrology. I'm fascinated by my birth chart and astrology. I don't know if anybody else out there is like that. I was always like a horoscope person. I enjoyed horoscopes, and I also enjoyed I know a few times, during my life, I had friends who had psychic parties, and I would attend psychic events, and I do enjoy that stuff. I think it's fascinating, and how, the capability of these people, how they can, the mediums, how they can speak to our families, that have crossed over. I just find it so fascinating, and I love how they embrace their ability to do that. So anyway, back to astrology. I'm really into astrology. I'm learning about the moons, and I'm learning about all the different planets and the houses and all this stuff, right? And I thought I'd share some of that stuff with you because I had an aha moment, and because I'm learning about me with my birth chart, and then I find myself with some challenges and obstacles, that those challenges and obstacles that I'm walking into are actually in my birth chart. Am I making sense? So recently I listened to a podcast about Chiron, right? And Chiron, I'm going to read this a little bit because I don't, it's recently. Chiron is, depending on where it falls, and I'm going to use my birth chart as an example, but depending on where it falls in your birth chart, it shows your wounds, your inner wounds, right? And in the beginning of all of this, when you're on this journey, everybody says, oh, do the work, do the inner work. And again, that was very, very, very frustrating to me. I didn't understand what that meant. And in the beginning, it was very superficial. And now I'm diving deeper into my inner wounds, my childhood wounds, shadow work, all that stuff, right? So for me, so Chiron displays your deepest wounds, okay? So for me, and I thought this was so fascinating because this has been on my mind, okay? I have Chiron in the 11th house with Taurus energy, okay? So the planet that my Chiron is in Taurus, even though I'm a Leo, okay? My Chiron is in Taurus and it's in my 11th house. All right, what does all this mean? So this placement touches on themes of belonging and self-worth and how we connect with our communities. And for a while, when I think back, I realized that I always didn't feel like I fit in, okay, with everybody else. And I would probably step away from social environments. And I guess it makes sense because I truly enjoy intimate gatherings. Like I'm a very small, few friends over to entertain and have that type of connection instead of this large group of people, like 50 people party. Like that's not what I enjoy. Doesn't mean I don't do it. Doesn't mean I don't host things like that. But if you were to ask me what I prefer, I'm very intimate. I prefer intimate gatherings, okay? I like to pay attention. I like to give attention to, each person individually. That's how I am, all right? So I've always, struggled with feeling worthy, my self-worth, and worthy of love and acceptance, okay? So that's what we're going to talk about, all right? So in my friendships and even in any relationship, and it makes sense because of how I came into this world and just how, when I think back of how I was when I was a child and teenager, adult, young adult, and then now my adult life. So that's what I'm going to be talking about in the next few episodes. And so if you want to stick around and maybe you can relate, or if you want to learn about your Chiron, okay, what you would do is go to the birth chart online. You'll Google a birth chart, put in your date of birth. If you know your time, you have to know your time for these things and where you were born. So you're going to put in your time and you're going to put in where you were born. And then the system will tell you where your Chiron is in which house and which planet. All right. So like I was saying before, Chiron is known as the wounded healer. It represents that deep, often unconscious wound we carry within us, okay? But also where we can eventually heal and help others once we've worked through it, all right? I'm still working through it, but I'm so excited to talk to everybody about this because I was like, I can't believe this. This is, friendships and relationships have been a topic, obviously, that I want to discuss. And, I didn't understand why. And now it's all just, it all came to me when I was doing some research at my inner work, right? So you want to think of Chiron as that part of you that may feel broken or incomplete, but when healed, it becomes a source of incredible wisdom, all right? And that's why I'm so excited, because I'm learning how to heal it, and it's exactly what it says. So now when Chiron is placed in the 11th house, so we're going to use me as an example. Remember, Chiron's in the 11th house and the Taurus planet. The 11th house is all about friendships and community and our ideals for the future. So the wound centers around belonging, all right? People with this placement might struggle with feeling like they don't quite fit in or that they're misunderstood by a larger community. There's a sense of alienation or isolation, especially when it comes to groups and social circles, okay? So it makes sense. It makes sense why I enjoy being in small, intimate groups, okay? All right. So, but what happens when Chiron is in the 11th house and it forms a connection with Taurus energy, all right? So Taurus is all about self-worth, stability, and sensual pleasures, all right? It's the sign that seeks comfort, security, and deep connection to material things, whether it's your home, your finances, or even your appearance. And again, makes complete sense because my goal this year is I'm really focusing on my finances, okay? And I want to make sure I leave, stuff to my children, a legacy for my children. So I'm really, really focusing on, and also like getting my credit score back up, being a part of that 800 club. And, I'm really excited. And then saving, so I'm doing that no spend January. It's not really working. I went to Starbucks twice, so it's only day 3 of January. But, a little Starbucks. I was traveling, so a little Starbucks, doesn't hurt anybody. But so it's just funny. Like, it's funny how all of this is accurate. I'm fascinated by it. So it says here, when you combine Chiron's wound with Taurus energy, you get someone who might feel unworthy of material success, love, or even belonging to a group. And I remember a couple of summers ago, when all this happened, I was chatting with my son, and we were talking about, I don't know what we were talking about, but ultimately we were talking about success. And basically, he and I came to the conclusion that I have a fear of success. And I don't know why, but here it is. I feel like I'm unworthy of getting success, okay? And I'm not, and now I need to learn how to heal these feelings. But what this is showing me is solidifying or confirming what I'm feeling. Fascinating. So, learning how all these planets and houses and how everything works and how, that's a whole nother channel. Like, I'm trying to really grasp how all this works. So I only have me. I can't wait to do like my kids and my friends. Like, I can't wait to do their birth charts, but I got to focus on me right now. But anyway, so it says there's a fear of being rejected or not measuring up to the standards set by society, friends, or even family. And that is so true. That is exactly how I'm feeling. So it says it's a wound that can feel particularly painful because it's linked to your core sense of value. Not just emotional, but physical and material too. So, even though I'm a Leo, and according to Leo traits, I'm supposed to be, a fiery energy, which I can be, and I'm supposed to be not, like out there and, not feeling nervous about just being who I am. And, that took a while. Like, to do this, wasn't easy for me. I did have inspiration. I did meet people who, had no problem going online on social media and posting videos and talking about whatever they knew. And what I was learning that in the beginning when I did it, like I said, I had that inspiration, so I did it, and I was happy that I did it. And now I feel like I need to do it, but I don't want to be out here just talking about my emotions, So I'm like learning how to research and get facts and all that good stuff. So here I am, right? I don't mind. This is very therapeutic. I've said that before. Coming on here, talking, and hopefully it helps other people. And I know that it does help other people. I get messages, like I said, all the time from people. And so I'm glad that I am putting my fear aside and able to come along on here and speak about whatever I'm learning. And maybe it'll help whoever's on the same type of journey find out more about themselves. Don't be afraid. All right. Like I said, I do therapy, but there's only so much therapy you can do, like to really find out the nitty gritty of yourself, like what you're made of, and, I get my logical thoughts, but it's just so much deeper and so much more, there's so much more to it. So let's dig a little deeper into how this plays out in real life. For someone with Chiron in the 11th house with Taurus energy, this placement can show up in a few different ways. Like, maybe you felt like you don't fit in with the cool kids. Definitely felt that way. Or that your social group never really understood you. Totally feel that way. Or maybe there's an ongoing struggle with self-worth that you might question whether you're good enough, whether your talents or contributions are valued, or whether you'll ever find your place in a group or community that really sees and appreciates you for who you are. It's reading me to a T, okay? I'm sure that some of you are nodding along right now because this is something many of us can relate to at some point in our lives. It's a painful feeling of not being seen or valued, especially by people who you thought you'd connect with. So I totally feel that way. And of course, with a failed marriage, I feel like I'm not worthy, I'm not lovable, who wants to love me? And it's so wrong. It's so wrong. But that's how I feel because of the actions taken in my life, okay? So how do we heal this, right? I was like, well, now that I know this about me, how do I heal this? How do I heal these wounds? How do I embrace this lesson? So the first step is all about embracing my inherent worth. Remember, Taurus is the sign of self-value. So it asks us to learn to ground ourselves in knowledge that we are worthy. And based on external validation or approval of others, not based on, sorry, I read that wrong. So, and the thing is that I do find myself like kind of trying to get validation from others. And I don't need that. I don't need that validation, but I do find myself trying to get it. And I just, it's funny when you have these moments and you read stuff like this, you're like, you laugh because you're like, that's me. That is so me. And it's like, okay, well, why do I do this? Why do I look for validation? I mean, obviously I'm looking for validation because of my failed marriage, okay? I'm looking for validation because, I didn't receive the love that, people talk about when they're a child. And I'm not saying I wasn't loved. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that I didn't get the proper love and affection when I was younger. So, again, like this birth chart thing is so fascinating to me. So, this is all, and this is why I'm on this journey. This is all self-love, me, loving myself. And, at its core. And so because I have this placement, I was told to start practicing ways to feel grounded in my own self-worth. All right. So this can be through self-care, which I'm sure you've all noticed my transformation in the past 2 years. Okay. And I started very superficial, and, I got books on the ABCs of self-care. Cause I didn't know. I was all about, keeping my house, running around for my kids. I let myself go. Now I'm down 50 pounds. I focus on my health, my vitamins, and my health and everything with my doctors. I focus on my skin. I focus on my hair and my nails. Like, these are mine. I need to work more on my mind. I do get crazy at times. Like I said in the beginning, I have a very creative mind. So I should be an author because I can write some pretty fun books, okay, with the ideas and thoughts that are created here. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. All right, so connecting with nature is another way of self-care and self-worth. And I do that. By walking. So the funny thing is that I used to live in a suburban town, a nice little town with houses and everything like that. But when I was looking to move, I needed more action. I needed to see people. Where I lived, you didn't really see people unless you went into town. Okay, town wasn't in walking distance. I always had to take my car. Well, I like to be outside. Okay, so I needed to move to a place where I could walk and be outside and feel the air and look at the scenery and the buildings, like just things. Like, I didn't realize there were things, like I'm interested in like the simple architecture of buildings. Like when I walk around the city, the other day I took Luigi into the city just to walk around. I had nothing else to do. It's like, let's just go walk around the city. And I just looked at the buildings, like the different little etches in the buildings, how they built them years ago, and how everything's evolving, and more buildings nowadays are more modernized and straight lines, and it's not about all these little intricate details, and it's just fun seeing all those things. So I enjoy being outside. So it makes sense because it makes me feel good connecting nature. And then I journal every day. Okay. journaling, it's just random thoughts just coming out of my head. I now write down my dreams if I remember. Like this morning I woke up and I remembered a dream, and I think that that's what woke me up, and I was like, whoa, that was exciting. And I don't know, I got a text message from somebody and it made me feel good, and I woke up and I actually checked my phone. Did I get that message? No, it was just a dream. But anyway, you know, it helps me feel secure and appreciated in my own. Like, I need to feel that way. You know, I have friends, new friends, and the other day I had a phone conversation with one of them, and she said the nicest things to me. And that was her truth, what she was saying to me. But do you know, I had to think about what she was saying to me. She poured into me, and everything she said was so beautiful. But I had to go in and think about what she said to me. Like, really? She sees that in me? Like, I think I'm my own worst enemy, to be quite honest. And you'll probably learn that too. I am my hardest critic. I don't know, but I don't, if I, I've had a lot of physical changes, all natural changes in my life. Like something as simple as my nails. And, as beautiful as they look, and they're my real nails, I'm like, well, I don't applaud myself for taking the time to, learn how to grow my nails and how to have healthy habits for myself, and I really should. I should be so happy with my changes, and they're all good. They're all good, but I always critique myself. So anyway, another key part of healing this wound, my wound, is finding my tribe. Okay. So, my authentic community. So with Chiron in the 11th house, you might have spent a lot of time trying to fit into groups, which I have. And then I noticed that I don't really fit in, so I would just back away and then I would leave. I don't have that FOMO. I don't have that fear of missing out. I really could care less what's going on with, the group of 50 people. However, what I do care about is my relationship, my friendships. I want friends who are invested, not just interested, okay? I don't want that surface level friendship. I want, my ride or dies. I want my soul tribe. I want really healthy friendships, who really, really care about what's going on with me. Not because they just want to know, those are just acquaintances. But I'm looking for those friends. And I have to say, I'm excited because I reached out, when all this started. Again, I have to go back to that. I've had friendships for years, decades, and those friendships are now gone. I don't speak to those people anymore. Now, when I look back, those friendships serve their purposes, but they weren't coming with me in my next chapter. And I didn't understand. I didn't understand why. I actually said to God, okay, great. You're pulling out all these friends out of my life because they don't belong. Because, I wrote this all in my journal. But I had this conversation with him because I was so at peace with these decisions. Okay. And I didn't understand why. I'm like, why am I okay with, my friendship for all these decades out of my life? And of course, I don't wish anything bad on anybody. When they were in my life, they served a purpose. But I just didn't understand. I was okay with it. And when you think about friendships, and they just dissolve like that, I don't know if you should be okay with it, but I was at peace with it. So I said to God, when I moved in here, I said, all right, you remove these people. You did your weeding of my garden. You removed the weeds. Great. But now we got to plant new seeds. I said, you got to bring me new people, right? And he did. He brought me new people. So, so going on with this, I need friends that will love me for who I truly am, okay? And it takes time to build that soul circle, that soul family. So I have three women friends who truly love me. I could feel it, and want the best for me. And I mean, one of them, she was an acquaintance from the community that I lived in, but we weren't friends. And she became my rock, all right, from the get-go, okay, when all this happened. Then her and I were at a concert in the summer, and we were at a bar. We went to a restaurant bar and ate a few appetizers before the concert, and we sat next to these other two women. And that there was one woman who she's part of my soul circle, and we became such great friends. Then, over this summer, I went for a walk, okay, with my dog, and you know how the dogs always sniff one another, and I met these other two women, and one of those women are now truly one of my best friends. And I smile, and I say, thank you, God, because I know that was him. And each one of them brings a certain aspect to me that I need to learn about me, okay? And I smile. I'm excited, okay? I'm excited for my friends. I'm excited to have these women in my life. And what I'm really excited about is they all agreed to come over and do an episode with me so we can all chat about friendships, okay? Because, you choose your friends, right? You choose them. And sometimes you don't choose the right ones. And or what is that saying? Friends come in for a season, a reason, or a lifetime. I'm so into the lifetime ones. I don't want the season or the reason. I get sad when they leave, Don't get me wrong. I know I was at peace with my friendships from years ago that I no longer, speak with them. And like I said, I only wish the best for all of them. But it still made me sad. I was at peace with it, but it still was like, sad. It's sad, but there's a reason for everything, So, I love having these authentic connection with these three ladies, and I love feeling like I belong on a deep, genuine level. All right. So, if this sounds like, do your birth chart. You may have the same placements as me. Who knows? But I really wanted to talk about friendships, not the disappointments, but like why certain things happen and how it's playing out, and like I said, when I did my birth chart and I actually looked at this Chiron, it all just made sense to me. I was like, holy moly, I do recognize this issue in my life, and I do want true, genuine connections with people. I'm all about, like, I just don't want the phony stuff. I don't want the superficial stuff, and we do have them in acquaintances, but I don't want it in my circle. Okay. And I cannot wait for you all to meet my friends. They're going to come on the next video that I do. So then I was like, you know what? Because of these placements, that I have and these issues that I have, what, like bring me to today and books and movies that are similar to my issues, okay, to my Chiron, my wounds, okay? And I wanted something from now, okay? So I don't know about you guys, all right? But I've watched every Disney movie you could known to man, okay? And I never really dove deep into the movies. I never really looked at the lessons they're trying to teach us. I just always thought that the Disney writers, creators were, they're very creative. I don't want to say that they're off, but I was like something Bambi's mom dies. in The Lion King, the dad dies. Like, and somebody's always like, there's always some sort of trauma, which is like life, but I don't know. Like, it was just like, but I never really like dug deep. Like, why is this like this? I remember when my son was younger, Finding Nemo, we played when we moved in, and he had a sleepover to make him excited about living in a new house. And we watched Finding Nemo. But I like fast forwarded the first part of it because it's so sad and scary, but I look back and I'm like, holy crap. So go back and watch some of these Disney movies and see what lesson you're learning from it. But one thing that came up when I was doing some research about my wounds, okay, that a great example of my Chiron wound is in Elsa, the character Elsa from Frozen, okay? She has a deep sense of being misunderstood and struggles with the feeling like she can't truly be herself in the kingdom. Okay, so just call me Elsa. No. And then for a long time, she isolates herself because she doesn't believe that others can accept her, especially with her powers. But eventually, Elsa learns that true belonging isn't about meeting other people's expectations. It's about embracing who she really is and finding the people who love her despite her differences. Okay? Another character who embodies this wound is Peter Quill from the Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know. I'm going to go watch that one. That one I haven't watched, So, the takeaway from today, we're going to talk about friendships, okay, in my next episode with my friends. And I'll explain, what I get from each of them. And they can explain what they get from me. And they can explain what they've learned about friendships and the heartbreak and and the wins, the successes and the failures of friendships, who's invested and who's just interested. So we're going to talk about all that in my next episode. But I'm telling you guys, if you haven't done your birth chart and you have the information, your birth date, the time, and where you were born, go do your birth chart. And then if you're struggling with stuff, it's definitely going to help you understand why you struggle with what you struggle with. All right? Again, it was just such valuable information, and your Chiron is what is your deepest wound, and you may feel great, like I said, I'm 48, I'll be 49 this year, but I never thought, like, I before all of this, I didn't think about my deepest wound. I honestly didn't think about anything about my life. And it was like, I did all this work in my life. I don't want, I had all this time with one person. I didn't really experience life. And who the hell am I? And because I jumped here, on this journey, this self-discovery, this healing journey, it brought me to this Chiron, and this fascination with astrology. So I hope this helps people if they're like, scratching their head, wondering certain things, why certain things happen. And like I said, I've been thinking about my friendships and why certain friendships just fell away, went away. And why I was at peace with certain things and why, just a whole bunch of whys. Why? So I hope you guys, I hope this encourages you to do that too, and do your research and see where you are. I am going to have, like I said, my friends on my next episode. I'm hoping to get their birth charts so we could see what their deepest wound is. Not that I'm going to share that with everybody, but I'm wondering if one of them has the same kind as me, maybe, perhaps. Who knows? But I do love my ladies, and I'm so happy that they're in my life. So I'm just, this journey is about me connecting with my authentic self and practicing self-love and finding communities that celebrate me as me. And like I said, my girlfriend, she did has such wonderful things to say about me that I had to really soak it in and think about it, because I don't see myself that way. And I have to start seeing myself that way, I have to remove the fear. I have big fear of rejection and the need to fit in, Sometimes I think I talk a good game, but deep down, I think I don't believe what I say sometimes, when I'm talking about myself, so like I know, like I know I'm a good person. I know that I'm a smart person, but then, and I try to like get it validated. Do you know what I mean? And I don't need validation from other people. I just need it from myself. I need to know this to the core. So it's not easy, I guess. It's not easy with, how my life played out. It's not like just turning on a switch and be like, okay, I'm cool. I know I'm this and I know I'm that. Even though I'm a Leo, I don't have that I don't feel always secure about who I am, even though I feel like I should, because I'm a Leo. We're strong and we're fiery and we are who we are, but I don't I don't feel that way. So true belonging comes when you're willing to embrace your unique value, right? And I just want to help everybody else to embrace themselves, okay? And we all have something to offer, and we just have to figure out what it is. So if you're in the same boat I am, maybe you'll be interested in all this. I don't know. But I'm so excited to share this with you, and I hope you enjoyed listening, and I hope I encourage you to go do your birth chart and find out your deepest wound. And, as each episode is, as we go on this year, I'll be discussing more of my birth chart, and figuring out, what makes me me, and being fascinated that what this birth chart is telling me is exactly accurate, so I'm pretty excited. So thank you for joining me today, and I hope you found everything insightful, and I hope this helps you on your own journey. And if you're feeling inspired, share this episode with someone that you think might benefit from it, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, okay? All right, guys, have a great day, and remember, you're worthy. All right, have a good day. Bye.